Welcome to the Gauntlet, where the jankiest Magic the Gathering tribal decks battle it out for glory, but most of all, your viewing pleasure. And of course, we would love it if you would participate in our leaderboard, where the winner will take home a Phyrexian Secret Lair drop. So, if you want to be a part of the leaderboard, all you have to do is predict the winner of the next match and comment it down below this video. So now, sit back, relax and enjoy the show. And Bram, tell us something about the two decks in this video.
This time we have two epic creature types, Archons versus Dragons. Let's look at the decks first. This 3-color dragon deck is a tribal control deck that plays big dragons like Pristine Skywise, Necromaster Dragon and Solumgar the Drifting Dead. It also plays some card draw spells, special artifacts like Dragon's Hoard and some removal that is very flexible like the Esper Charm. Next up we have this Reanimator Archon deck with huge creatures, Archon Rider, Archon of Coronation and the Archon of Cruelty. We try to play them from our graveyard using cards like Persist, the Eldest Reborn and a human warlock that likes recursion, Priest of Felrites.
Fight!
Both Dragon Shield and our sponsor CARDMARKET present our hands and we start with the dragons. Behold the Multiverse is a nice card draw spell. I also see some dragons and we saw it coming. There is also a counter spell in the hand of the dragon player. What else do we got? A big legendary dragon called Solumgar the Drifting Dead. This one also has hexproof, very strong control card, some lands like the Shine Shadow Snarl. And I also see a plains and an island, also Hagra Mauling, nice removal spell. Now let's look at the hand of the Archons. Let's look if we have some Reanimator spells. We see a removal spell in Mortify, destroying creatures or enchantments. There's also a Sinister Starfish that could put cards in the graveyard. Some lands, some pathway lands, you can choose which side. And of course Archon Rider, probably the most well-known Archon. And there's also Archon of Coronation. This one can make you become the Monarch. And there's also Chaos Rat, a big mass removal spell in white and black. We are off with a Snarl, a black and white land that comes into play tapped. And the Archons play a Swamp. And all colors are online for the dragons and they play a spell satchel that's a 2-mana artifact. You can put counters on it, so you can draw some additional cards. Here's the Starfish. It's a blocker but it also can fill the graveyard. Nice flavorful card, Sinister Starfish. And now we will foretell a card. There we go. So that's actually now a 2-mana counter spell. Of course the Archon player doesn't know what it is. He will put a card in the graveyard and he will play a Grim Climb Pathway. Back to the dragons now. We are on turn 4. We didn't see a lot of action. Here is the Prairie Stream. And the Sinister Starfish will surveil, putting another card in the graveyard. Another land has been played. Off to turn 5. But before that we will behold the Multiverse. So the spell Satchel gets another counter. Doing some scry action, some additional lands. There we go. 6 lands are available for the dragons. They will play Necromaster Dragon. It's a 4/4 with flying, of course, and it could also make zombies. Let's see if the Archons are going to react to that. Yes, they will play Mortify, killing the dragon. And the starfish is fishing away. This time, Vile Entomber, Zombie Warlock, puts a card in the graveyard and it's going to be a big Archon. So let's see. It's an Ashen Rider that goes into the graveyard, exiling permanents when it enters and leaves the battlefield. So here is another Prairie Stream. And the Dragon control deck just passes the turn. Another Sinister Starfish does some Surveil action. And there's another Starfish. And Vile Entomber will attack First Blood, 1820. Here are the Gates of Istval. You can sacrifice it to gain some life, draw some cards. Meanwhile, the Starfish is continuing to put stuff into the yard. Priest of Felrides has been chosen to put on top, has been drawn, has been played. And this one is countered. We saw it coming. But it can still be played from the graveyard. Now the spell Satchel gets another counter because a instant or sorcery was played. So the control deck is trying to maintain to have answers in the hand. They still have 2 removal spells. They opt not to play their Silumgar Dragon. Starfishes are putting more things into the graveyard. Another foil land is played. And Priest of Felrides is now unearthed. It's sacrificed for 3 life and that means we have a big Archon. Ashen Rider enters the battlefield and will exile a land. We're going to exile the Gates of Istval. Now we can react to that, of course. Yeah, the gates are sacked. 2 life is gained, 2 cards are drawn. Attack from the Entomber. Back to the dragons. They have quite a bit of land. So let's see what they will do. They will tap 4 mana for Kaiha's Wrath, destroying 4 creatures. And the spell Satchel will also be destroyed. Let's see if they're going to react to that. Yeah, another card has been drawn before the spell Satchel is exiled. And it's another charm. And there is another big Archon. So we speed it up a little bit. Back to the dragons. Let's see what they will do now. A lot of options, of course. Back to the Archons. They have 5 mana. Seems like a lot, but not if you play the Archons. Now we play Esper Charm. And we're going to draw even more cards at the end step of the Archons. Another land for the dragons. They now have 9 lands available. And here is Dragon's Horde. This artifact adds mana of any color, but whenever we play a dragon, we put a counter on the horde. And now we can remove a counter to draw a card. But this one is fractured. Nice play. Destroy target artifact, enchantment or planeswalker. the exact card the Archons need. And now Burial Rites. But this one is countered by Dromar's Charm. So real control match so far. Lots of cards in hand. Lots of mana, especially for the dragons. And the life totals are 16 versus 17. Here is Pristine Skywise. And this one has some sort of a hexproof protection from some colors. Here is a temple from the Archons. Finally, the 6th land. That means the Eldest Reborn will come into play, a saga. That means the Pristine Skywise will need to be sacrificed. Now we will play Mortify on it. I think we made a mistake here. Because whenever we play a saga, we put a lore counter on it. And in this game we thought we could react to the lore counter coming on this. But actually afterwards we found out this was not the case. So a small mistake. Our apologies. We are a casual Magic channel. We don't have judges at hand. We need to film, we need to play at the same time. So sometimes we have a small mistake happening. Our apologies for that. So let's continue with the match. A little bit in the advantage of the dragons. Because they keep Pristine Skywise. And let's see what will happen next. An attack from Pristine Skywise, putting the Archons to 11. And will the dragons play a follow-up spell? They have still a lot of options. Here's another dragon, Shadrix Silver Quill. This is a double striking dragon with flying. And of course it has some options when it attacks. Now back to the Archons. They draw another Reanimator creature. But now let's see what they will do. They have quite a bit of options to deal with the dragons. Damn on that dragon. In response there's a Brainstorm. Not a counter spell. But Pristine Skywise, this does get protection. Now we put some cards back. Now Unburial Rites is flashed back. That means Ashen Rider is back. And this Ashen Rider is immediately destroyed. Because of that we can give the Skywise protection from a color of our choice. But the Ashen Rider is targeting a permanent, so is destroying some lands. So let's see what the dragons have in store. They play Dovin's Acuity. So we draw a card, we gain some life, we attack, putting the Archons to 5. The Archons still have some cards in hand and they also draw that necessary 7th land. They play Kaya's Rod. All creatures are destroyed. No life has been gained. Archons still at 5. They could use a little boost. Because we know, of course, there are still some dragons coming their way. Dragon player is tapping some mana. For Mr. Hexproof Salongar, the rifting that. It's only a 3/7. But it's a very tough dragon to deal with the hexproof. But this is also a tough creature to deal with, Archon of Cruelty. When it enters the battlefield or attacks, target opponent sacrifices a creature or planeswalker, discards a card, loses 3 life, you draw a card and you gain 3 life. What a powerful Archon for, of course, 8 mana. That means Silumgar is sacrificed. There's a life swing, and now the Archons, they have a 6/6 flying on the battlefield. So let's see how the dragons react. With a Poison the Cup, destroying that dragon, and Dolphin's Acuity goes back to the hand. That means we can play this one again. No, we will play Dromar the Banisher. That's a 6/6 flying dragon from Invasion. Old school dragon. But the Archons, they still have big powerful creatures in hand and they will persist the Archon of Cruelty. Removing the other dragon. This now is only a 5/5, but it still swings some lives. From the dragons to the Archons, and then Archon of Coronation now. Another 5/5. And the dragons, they need solutions. So first, some life, a card, and that's a nice card. Because it's Despark, and it will destroy, exile the Archon of Cruelty. Dolphin's Acuity goes back to the hand. You can still play it again, gaining another 2 life, drawing another card, drawing a nice charm. So it's going back and forth. Really like this game so far. Ashen Rider now for the Archons, exiling the Acuity. Now the attack from Archon of Coronation. 11/11. Could this be the longest game so far? Maybe it is. The Archons now in the lead. But now here is Dragon Lord Ojutai. Also hexproof. And it has a brainstorming effect when it deals damage. But the Archons, they still have quite a bit of Archons in hand. Archon player looking at the graveyard to do some more shenanigans. Let's see what they do. Dragon player is on the tip of his seat. 2 Archons attack. And the dragon player has to do some blocking. Block the Archon of Coronation, but giving it -2/-2, so keeping his Ojutai alive. But the Archon player is also playing a Priest of Felrites. Super nice art. And the land is not the card the dragon player needed. He now attacks with Dragon Lord Ojutai. But this dragon pays the price of fame, is destroyed. And this definitely swings the game in the favor of the Archons. Discerning Taste is the last sorcery that will be played. Because the attack of the Priest of Felrites and the Ashen Rider is lethal. Archons win.
Another great match is in the books. If you want to learn more about the leaderboards, click the link here and comment down below on who you think will win the next match. So Bram, what do you have in store for us next week?
Next time we'll have a horde of evil zombies against a tribe of squirrels. Let us know who you think will win.